Hi, I'm Maddie.
I'm Karina.
And this is Everything But the Fairy Tale Sink. Today's episode, we're going back to the urban legends. We haven't done one in a while. We are covering the Bunnyman of Virginia. So it's a little on the spooky side. Karina, I apologize. Anyways, I like scaring you. So, and I know that the next episode we're filming today, you are going to call me out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Right now, I get to call you out.
I don't think this is the same level of calling out. I think you're just scaring me.
Yeah, no, I am. Anyways, I'm going to fix that before the next episode, but for right now, I don't care. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation of the day is the Netflix series Shadow and Bone. If you haven't already watched it, you need to.
I'm almost done with it.
It's very good. It's very good. You don't need to read the books beforehand. It's pretty easy to follow. It's a good time.
My recommendation is that if you don't feel like cooking tonight, go out and get yourself something nice to eat.
Fair enough.
Because
all right. You ready?
Yeah. All right. So before we get started, I just want to preface this episode might be just the slightest bit hard to follow. I did my best to find as much information as I could. But obviously with urban legends, because they are urban legends and they're specific to that place, the stories just kind of change over time. So I apologize in advance if you are confused. I will try to make it as easy to understand as possible. And obviously, Karina will ask questions to kind of just make things a little more, simple to understand.
Can't promise they're going to be the most relevant questions, but they'll be questions.
That's fine. So, I mean, this legend is it's specifically in Virginia. It's mostly in Fairfax County, but it has also been, told in Maryland and Washington, D.C. But for the sake of this episode, I will be focusing on Virginia as, just that one. So there's a bridge in Fairfax County, Virginia called Bunnyman Bridge. And it's kind of in the woods, and it's just a simple bridge. It doesn't have any water beneath it. It's got like an overpass and then just like a walking trail underneath. So, yes. The Bunnyman story is based on true events. Sorry, Karina.
Okay, first I'm going to stop you there because I'm stalling a little bit. But it's interesting to me, like, the bridge part. Like, why are so many, I guess, demonic creatures? I don't know if Bunnyman's a demon, but bridges.
I'll get there.
Okay.
So the bridge is associated with Bunnyman Bridge because one of the versions of the story tells of a man who escaped an asylum during transport. So like he was on a bus being transferred from one prison to Lorton Prison in 1904. And his name was Douglas J. Griffin. So he escaped after murdering his fellow inmate.
Okay.
And he was said to have hidden out in the woods and killed bunnies for food and left the bodies of the bunnies by the bridge.
Poor bunnies.
So that's one story. However, this one has been proven incorrect and false because Lorton Prison was not actually established until 1910, and there are no records of a Douglas J. Griffin ever being an inmate there.
Interesting.
So, there's no proof of that. Another story says that in the 1970s, a couple was just parked on an overpass. They were, kind of a lover's lane deal. And a man came up and knocked on their window and started harassing them. He was threatening them, and the couple left. They escaped. They weren't harmed or anything, but they were obviously shaken up because this random man was harassing them. So they reported it to the police, and they said that the man was wearing light or white clothing and something on his head. Your cat just came up and smacked the window.
She's like, I am the killer.
Yes, I am the Bunnyman.
You mentioned light white, and she was like, I'm here.
I'm here. You rang. Anyways, so the reports of something on his head have since morphed into a bunny hat. So some stories say he's wearing white and then one of those Easter hats that's like a ball cap with bunny ears or or some reports say he's just full on bunny suit, paws and all, which is horrifying. Yeah, I hate it too.
No, I'm definitely just picturing the mall, like, Easter bunnies that you see from, like, the 1980s.
Yes, that. Picture that. So another 70s story is that a young man and his fiance were stopped at the 5040 block of Guinea Road in Fairfax.
Mm-hmm.
And a man wearing white and a bunny hat approached their, he didn't approach their car, but before he approached their car, he threw a hatchet through the window. You good there?
What?
So this couple, man and his fiance were just minding their own business, having a good time, and a hatchet flew through the window. Thankfully, both of them survived. Neither of them were hurt. However, after this, a man ran up and started harassing them, and he was wearing a bunny ear hat and just kind of giving them a hard time. And so obviously they left, reported it to the police. Mm-hmm. And the police investigated it for a little while. However, no conclusions were ever drawn, and no one was ever arrested.
That's really weird. Why was he wearing a bunny hat? Was it like close to Easter? Was it
because at this point the Bunnyman legend was already in full swing.
Oh.
So that whole thing of copycat killers and copycats. Stalkers or whatever. Yeah. This was one of those situations where either could have been the actual Bunnyman or a copycat who was just around to scare people for fun. Yeah, don't do that to people. Just let them have a good time.
Okay, Karina needs a small rant. How bored do you have to be to just go pretend to be a killer? Like, why?
He never actually killed anybody. He's just a scary man.
I don't care. It's still, how bored do you have to be?
Yeah, very bored. So, another story. I know, a lot of stories. I like telling stories. So, one Halloween night, I couldn't find the year, but a man named Paul Phillips was working security at a construction area near where the Bunnyman was reported to hang out and be around. So, he was obviously on alert, and it was Halloween, so he was probably trying to protect the area from kids vandalizing it or getting hurt at night in a construction area. So he saw a man in gray and a bunny hat vandalizing the building. So he approached the man and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here." And so the man threatened the security guard, and he threatened to bust the head of anyone who trespassed on the Bunnyman.
This is less scary and more infuriating. I'm like, why? Yes, I am the demon of petty crimes.
Yeah.
You're not that special.
Yeah. So as we're kind of coming to the end, I know it was really short. Yeah. But as we're coming to the end, I couldn't find exactly when this legend started, but presumably it started in kind of the 50s through 70s when a lot of urban legends are born. Mm-hmm. And it is still very strong today. As I was researching it, they actually, one of the websites I found was a .gov website that talked about the story.
Oh.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting how it's so solidified in their area, basically, that it's just, an on .gov site. But also for Maryland and DC, I couldn't find as much information on that. However, whereas Bunnyman's just kind of a threatening figure in Virginia and Maryland, he is apparently a full-blown murderer, according to one of the websites, in DC.
Charming.
But because this is an urban legend, I don't know if any deaths have actually been connected to the Bunnyman or if they're, fictional deaths that have been accredited to it, because no matter how many times the internet wanted me to use creepypasta, the creepypasta is not a valuable, valid, legit source.
It has some great stories, but
it has some great stories, but it's not a legit source to find information on because it's stories. Mm-hmm. Plus, we don't cover creepypastas on this podcast, so I just chose not to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have. Kind of short, but
short and sweet, and not really sweet. Karina's very irritated by this too.
Short and infuriating. I mean, it's probably good because it's going to be sandwiched in between 2 episodes on the longer end. So
true. 2 very chaotic episodes, I can already predict.
Because Mermaids came before this,
And then
this one.
Perfect segue into what we're doing next week.
What's next week?
Next week we are doing the Norse legend of Loki, or the Norse mythology character. It's gonna be a lot.
I'm excited. This will be one of the stories where I do know equally as much because I'm taking a Greek mythology, not a Greek mythology, just a world mythology course in college this quarter. And I just kind of have always known a lot about mythology. So
yeah.
I also sent Karina a lot of sources from my textbook. So
yeah. All right. Well, wishes of the day?
Yes. My wish is that because the weather is getting so beautiful and is so beautiful as Karina sits and watches the wind at her place, my wish is that you just go out and maybe do some homework outside or read a book outside. Just go out and enjoy the sunshine. And if you are allergic to pollen or sun or the grass, I'm sorry.
Hi. I say as I'm sitting outside, I'm gonna regret this. My wish is that if you are driving somewhere and you have to take a left-hand turn, that there's no cars coming for like
in the town that I'm living in, like the main street, if you have to turn left, like just don't.
Yep.
Because there's just a constant flow of cars.
No, the place I live as well, it's a fun game of like, okay, well, we're going to go take the detour because I'm not going that way.
Yeah, we're going to go the long way to avoid left-hand turns.
Yeah, all right. Well.
Are you going to do the outro this time?
Am I going to do the outro this time?
Come on.
Sure.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining us again this week. If you stayed all the way till the end, wasn't too hard this week, but we do appreciate you. Follow us on our Instagram. Subscribe to us here. The TikTok page should be up and running soon, probably by the time this is up, and our website will be up eventually. I have no promises on when that's coming, but it'll be up eventually.
That's fine. We're still a baby. We're still, just starting. It's fine that we don't have one yet. And as always, wait, okay, it's the right one. As always, snitches end up in ditches.
There had to be a more convenient way you could put that in during this episode. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye. I apologize in advance for next week.
Oh, God.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.